If you got given the choice or the chance, the opportunity to design your life at birth, would you choose an easy one? It's a bit of a thought experiment that I was wanting to tackle. And I thought I would start by reading about a quote that I found on social media recently. Imagine you speak to the creator of the universe before birth, and you get to choose the person that you get to become. So you say, I want to be the most courageous. So the creator replies, well then, I will give you monsters to terrify you so you can conquer them. Then you say, I want to be patient. So the creator replies, well then, I will make you work harder and longer so you can learn to wait. So then you say, I want to be wise. So the creator says, I will give you failures to crush your spirit so you can learn the value of judgment. You then say, sounds like a rough life. Can you just give me a good life? The creator replies, and just like we measure the quality of a blacksmith by the strength of his steel, I measure you by what you are at the end, not the fire and the hammer it took to make you. A good life isn't a life that's easy. A good life is a life that makes you into a good person, and that is a hard life. Today, we're going to talk about the value of hard work. Again, I know it's not necessarily a topic that people like to talk about, but there's so much victory that can be found in hard work. Hard work is not a punishment. Hard work is the process of growth. Just like courage is found not by running from fear, but by facing it. Just like patience can only be forged through perseverance. And just like wisdom can only be discovered through struggles and tribulations. I'm finding more and more that people are wanting to avoid hard work if they can. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with working smarter, not harder. But avoiding it just because you can't be bothered doing the work, that's the problem I'm talking about. The reality is that meaning comes from overcoming challenges. A good life, as touched on in that quote, it's not an easy life, but a life with challenges that turns you into a good person. Now, this is the first time, more or less, out of the 3-4 episodes that I've done so far, that we're sort of starting to point towards where all of these episodes are going. And that's the topic of meaning, the meaning in your life. And the reason for talking about meaning is it is far deeper than happiness, this pursuit of happiness. This may sound pessimistic or negative, but the truth is that life is full of ups and downs. It's never just good all the time, which means that if you're in a good period right now, you can guarantee that things will get worse eventually. But they will, if they're bad now, they will also get better. The problem with happiness is it's fleeting. While you're having a good time, your happiness will be there, and that's great. But when life throws you a curveball, and trust me, it will, happiness will go. And that's where meaning is important. And to paraphrase the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, he who has a why can bear any how. Now, what does that mean? That having a meaning in life, or having a purpose for your life, will help you to endure and overcome any obstacle or challenge, no matter how hard it is. To refer to the Bible, in Jeremiah 29:11, a verse that I've personally held close over the years when things have been tough. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, but not to harm you. Plans to give you a future. And I love this verse, not just because God has a plan for my life, but because God knows me individually and has a plan individually for me and for you and for everyone. He has a plan for everyone's life. So even though times can be hard, it's not hopeless knowing that God has got you, that He has plans for your life. And those plans include hard times and good times, but nevertheless, He has a plan for your future and not to harm you. So as far as the call to action for this week, for this episode, let me put it to you. Don't run away from hard things. Don't resent challenges in your life. The struggles and the challenges of your life, you can choose, like last time when we talked about perspective, you can choose to look at them and think that this sucks. Why is this happening to me? Or the call to action that I want you to try from this episode is look at the challenging situation and ask yourself, how is this shaping my life for the better? What can I learn from this to make me a better, more capable individual? What I love about that quote at the start of the episode, growing up, I always really loved samurai, and particularly their swords. I thought the samurai sword was just a thing of beauty. And if you appreciate art like I do, to see something that was so deadly, but yet so beautiful, it was always something that I found hard to comprehend. But at the same time, when you find out how a samurai sword is made, that they take a cube of steel and they heat it till it's red hot, and then they beat it, like in that quote at the start. And then they heat it and they beat it and they heat it and they beat it over and over and over again to get out all of the impurities. So it is one perfectly forged piece of steel. It's both beautiful and deadly. And the reason why I find that metaphor important is if you can find the value in hard work, if you can see the value in overcoming your struggles and seeing what you can learn from them rather than complaining about them, and having that right perspective, you too will become beautiful but deadly. Because the most successful people in life are the ones who have worked out how to harness the tough times, harness the difficulties and the struggles and the hurdles, and use them to improve themselves rather than see them as a way to be stuck where they are. And once you become the master of the challenges, you definitely become deadly. So closing out today's episode, when you see challenges, when you see hurdles, don't see them as roadblocks. See them as stepping stones to the next thing. And maybe that change in perspective and that view of your life will help you to start to overcome things. Next time, what we're going to narrow in on is self-awareness. So we've talked about personal responsibility, gratitude, perspective. Today's the value of hard work. Now we need to identify within ourselves how we interact with the world, so that when we do things, we can better understand, that cause and effect of I do this, and so this is what happens. But if you're not aware of what you're doing, cause and effect will mean nothing to you. So understanding who you are, how you operate, how you work, and how you fit into the world around you is what we're going to cover next time. I hope you found today helpful. If it's not for you, that's fine. But if you, again, like where we're heading with this show, heading up to finding your meaning and purpose in life, then please consider liking, subscribing, and come along for the journey with me. Thanks. See you next time.